All right, we're going to start building the car now, all the parts for it. I'm going to build this one. I drew all the parts for. I have my drawings to refer to. I'll have electronic copy of them available for you to access if you like. However, my drawings are a guide for me. I also have the actual part available to refer back to the individual pieces, remeasure things as I see I may have measured something different. And I'll make adjustments as I go to the measurements. Sometimes what was an actual measurement, I think I'll infer what would be maybe the design measurement that's been in the tolerances in manufacturing were off a little bit, and make adjustments as I go, as I see fit. So I'm going to start with the wood base for the car. If I take off these top pieces, you can see that the wood base is connected to the plastic base with some screws, and the wheels are connected in there. I'll start with that wood base as the part I want. It's just basically a rectangle. It's got this bull nose on front of it. So I'll start with a new part file, a standard IPT part, and I'll create a sketch on the XY plane, and I'll create a rectangle. I measured this to be an overall length of 4.305 and overall height of 0.72. And I'll add the measurement for that bull nose in there right away, or the drawing. So I'll make an arc there for the front here. And when I measured it, when I drew it, I extrapolated that the circle would be 3.5 inches in diameter. That makes that arc. So I'll make that a radius of 1.75, which would be half of 3.5. And then I also measured that the distance from where the arc touches on the top of the piece to the back end is 3.945. So I'll dimension that. And I have all the dimensions. I'm fully constrained, so I'll finish this sketch, and then I will extrude it. For my extrusion, I'm going to choose to use a mid-plane extrusion, third kind. The reason for that is so that I can have the origin plane be in the center of the part, which will be useful later on. And the total thickness that I want the entire piece I measured to be 1.565 inches. So I'll put that in here, 1.565, and that's what's the difference going from the center of the sketch. So now the main shape has been modeled, and now I want to put holes in the piece. There are 4 holes in it that go all the way through for the plastic base that attaches to it, as well as a couple of holes on the bottom for where the screws for the plastic base screw into it. So I'm going to make a new sketch on this plane down here. Now the reason for doing a sketch is I'm going to place points to make these holes, so I can make them all at one time. So I'm going to start by placing points down the middle of it. I need a total of 6 points. I'll start with the 4 points, though, that make up where the large holes are going to be. And then I will constrain them to be centered along here by referencing the center point of the left side of the piece. Those are all constrained along the center now. And as you can see that I can move those points side to side. I can't move them up and down. And then I'll set the distances for them. And this is an example of where what I measured, I'm going to alter it slightly so that it makes more sense in what seems to be what was originally designed. The holes are all very close to 1 inch apart. So I'm going to make each of the holes 1 inch apart from each other. So I'll simply dimension each of those to be 1 inch apart. And then they are approximately 1/2 inch from starting from the back of the piece. So I'll dimension the first hole to be a 1/2 inch in the back. That fully constrains all those 4 points. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more points right away, and these are going to be where the screw holes are that attach the plastic base to the wooden base. And those I'll go with what I measured. That one as being 1.130 away from the end, and this one as being 2.875. I'll finish this sketch and choose the hole tool. The hole tool will automatically find those centers that I've placed, those points that I've placed. I don't want the 2 for the screws right away, so I'm going to click on centers and shift and click on the ones I don't want to select. So I don't want this one, and I don't want this one. But then the rest of the holes are all going to be the same size. They're all going to go all the way through. So I'll go distance will be through all, termination. And the size of the holes is going to be 0.36. That's actually a remeasurement I had to make because I measured it wrong the first time. So 0.36 will be the size of the holes. Press OK. I've got all 4 of those holes cut. And then the 2 holes for the screws, I will make another hole tool. And in order to reference that sketch report, I have to make it visible again. And then I'll do the hole tool again. It'll choose the 2 other holes that I did not have, that I did not use before. This time, I just want those holes to be a 1/4 inch deep, so I'm going to change the distance to 0.25 inches. And the holes themselves will be 0.25 inches for distance, and the holes themselves will be 0.1 inch. I'll leave it as a standard drilled hole point at the end, and press OK. I can hide that sketch once again by turning off the visibility, and that piece is complete. However, to make it 100% complete, I'm going to add some color to it. So I'm going to change it to a wooden piece. So I'll go to the material up top, and I'll change it to, not exactly sure what kind of wood it is, but I'll just choose a yellow pine right now. It gives it a bit of a wood texture to it. That is the end of that wood base. So I'll save that piece as wood base, and I'll close that piece to go on to the next one.